I've had too many drinks. But anyway, you go down there, and you'll talk to any one of these voiceover actors, and you go, I love the so-and-so character, and they'll pop out the voice. And it's just because they did it so much that it's part of them, so they kind of carry it with them. So I think that's a big part of it. Any other? Yeah?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Cameras came out, Jesus.
Sorry.
You said no on
One second,
YouTube.
let me get comfortable.
I want to ask you a question, but I'd like to start off with a little story, if I could.
Oh, turn the camera on.
Okay, so one day I was watching my brother play Mass Effect 2 because he's a huge Mass Effect fan. And I'm watching him with Legion, and I'm like, hey, you know Legion's voiced by Wesker? And he's like, I don't give a fuck, I hate Wesker. So, we get into a discussion. I'm trying to learn more about Legion's character because I'm like, of course, I love Wesker, so I want to learn more about Legion. So he tells me that Legion is one of many other, legions. And I'm like, how do they work? He's like, oh, they share one brain. And I'm like, but this one's with you. And he's like, yeah. He's like, all of them good? And he's like, no, most of them are bad. I'm like, then how does someone share one brain? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's like one bee trying to set fire to the hive. And I'm like, so my question is, did you and how did you? It's gonna be a hard question. Did you and how did you develop that character's voice or that character?
Well, I mean, I have to develop it in order to give it to them, the people who need it.
Right, but sometimes people tell you, hey, this character is going to be that, so this is what you have to say.
Right.
Were you able to develop it on your own? And
No. It's based, well, I mean, on my own and based off of what they've said that they're looking for. So usually with an audition, there'll be like some sort of description of the voice, and then you kind of go off that, and usually try to twist it a little bit so that it's your own thing, so that you stand out in the auditions that get sent, because sometimes they get hundreds. Sometimes it's only 20 if you get selected down by the casting director. That's why it pays to be nice to casting directors. But then you get into the session, and then whatever the specs were, all sometimes go out the window, and then the producer writers there in the session, they're going, actually, he's really more of this or that, and then they guide you, and you start going, okay, they throw you adjectives, and then you start saying the lines in ways, and they go, yeah, more like that, and then more like that. Then from there, you've locked it into a one style. It won't be that style at the end of the session. It then will evolve as you start to do the lines, and you go, oh no, it kind of feels better this way. And sometimes you'll actually backtrack and re-record some of the earlier lines. But so it is a give and take between them and you. So for instance, in the case of Legion, I didn't have any backstory on Mass Effect until I went into the session, and they said it's the first time the Geth have spoken, and you're actually a good Geth. So I was going off of, which was like, I think it was essentially like an emotive howl, or how did they put it? It was like an emotive. It was actually a long page. It was like it was full of a lot of description, which is unusual for video games, because a lot of times it's just like a sentence or two. But it was something to that effect. And so the one I gave was it was literally a Hal thing. Like, how can I help you? It actually was a speech they gave that he never actually says in the game, because they don't want, they're so paranoid about people getting stuff. So it was a speech that I had to give about, it was like at a funeral. And so I give this speech as this computer, alien computer thing, and I guess I put enough emotion lilt in it that they liked it, and I got it. So I got lucky. It's how I met Ginny McSwain, which, to my other point, I met Ginny McSwain, I got to work with her. She voice directed that, and then she became the casting director on the Transformers Rescue Bots, and I was one of very few that was submitted for my role. And because she worked with me, I was able to. I had that benefit. So. That's the thing, is as you go through your careers, no matter what they are, be nice to the people going up.
Can I make a personal request? So I want to cap off with that story.
This is his show.
No more. No, it's yours. Can you say in Wesker's voice, "Fuck you, Daniel" on camera?
What? I'm a trained monkey now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What is the line?
Fuck you, Daniel.
Is he on there? Fuck you, Daniel. To be honest, if you told me about that before, I was able to prepare. I drew on some past experiences, and we rehearsed it. Other questions? Not from you?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm safe.
Any other questions about Mass Effect, Resident Evil, Transformers? Eternal Sonata?
Yes!
We have an Eternal Sonata question!
You actually like Wesker.
Wait, were you the angry one?
Yes.
Anything that can do to diffuse that?
I believe it's intentional hunger.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, as long as it's at home.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not my house.
But But did you actually like Wesker as a character?
Of course, you get to play badass. That's what's fun. Yeah. That's very fun. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, you're just voicing a character. I wouldn't know if you would like it or not.
right. Oh, I mean, if I voice characters, then well, I would say I voice
have any
characters in character not because of
That's
what
the
they
thing. That's
did,
something
but
about
because
Alexei.
what the voice qualities they wanted for the character. It's like this really is. I feel like I'm being kind of a modified announcer for them. But they like it because it matches the Japanese version, and so it's like, okay, so I do it. But no, usually it's you like what you've got a gig. Yeah, when I have a gig, I love whatever it is that character's up to, no matter how horrific or whatever, unless it's unless it has something to do with. Forgive me if you're Christian, but sometimes you'll get these things that they actually want it to be for their church or whatever, and then you realize that all the dialogue is kind of like forcing somebody into a certain kind of frame of mind and all of that. And it's like it's not really about the characters, it's more about their agenda, and it's like so those that I don't really get
How
the
did you come
characters.
upon Wesker?
What's that?
How did you come upon Wesker?
They came upon me on audition for it. So that's it. All those characters, they don't unless you're a celebrity unless you're a celebrity, they're not going to go. That person's going to get the gig. I mean, casting director may remember you and bring you in with several other people, or your agent will send you the audition. But yeah, we all get it through auditions usually, unless it's we know the producers personally or something.
Yeah. It's gonna sound pretty bad, but I played Eternal Sonata, and I just curious who you were.
I know it is.
I know I was in it.
Oh.
Jazz.
Jazz. That was Jazz.
Oh.
No,
I did not expect that.
that's one where we matched the Japanese.
Wow.
I like the concept though, it's kind of cool. But there's this strange kind of stiff feeling. There's this, you guys can help me out with this because I don't quite get it as much, but there seems to be these kinds of the anime games. I guess they're based on the actual cartoons. But like Eternal Sonata, is that based on a cartoon as well? No, it's just its own game.
No, it's own game. Own game.
But that, like I just did Tales of Grace's F.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh, no.
You were the president. You were the president, right?
I so want to be hip. Yes, whoever said that.
I said that.
Yes, President Pepperdine. President Pepperoni.
I noticed.
Paradigm?
Yeah, I noticed that you seem to be playing the silver hair characters in those games.
Whoa. You just made an enemy.
What? You
well,
were.
It's the voice of authority kind of thing. So,
Yeah, you did the same thing in Vesperia, I think.
Did
Oh!
Alexei and Peony.
Wait,
And
yeah.
Peony.
No, but that's an example. Do not put this in the internet.
Aww.
This is an example of you get a voice. They want to match the Japanese thing. Is this good for me? Hello. No. They do the Japanese thing, and a lot of them are very formal in the way that they're. So then you're like, so you kind of match, and they go great, and you're like, I'd love to do something more. But I think with the difference between, would you say, the Tales of Vesperia, which I think I'm horrible in.
Really?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry if you like me, but
No, I have to be honest.
feel-
That's how I discovered you.
Grace, I feel like blah 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 blah. That's really what I think my whole rhythm is in that whole thing. It just all feels. I'm sorry, this conversation upsets me. I'm going to go. Whereas with the President and the Tales of Grace, I mean, it felt a little more comfortable, and it felt like I could actually have. There was more dialogue as well too.
Yes.
So there was more in political intrigue, and also you could have a little more. But again, there's this formal quality. And then I watched the final. Somebody got the video for me, and you're hearing the music with it and all that, and I go, it's such a bizarre world. It's political intrigue, but it's circus music or something. But people dig that stuff. It's neat.
I found you out in that game.
What's
so
that?
I found you out in Tales of Vesperia. So.
What is it about that kind of world that as opposed to say like a Mass Effect world or a Resident Evil world that makes you kind of go, oh, I love everything about this to make me want to dress up like it.
I think for the Tales series, I just particularly like it because they really focus on the characters in that game. The character development. That's really the key for those Tales series. That's kind of why I like the series a lot.
Interesting.
No, that was a question. I haven't played the game.
Which now I
No,
have.
it's okay. They hate you, but not fun.
Actually, well, now I have a question now.
Do you? Well, let's get the question. I don't want to finish it.
No, it's not a question. I'm answering your question. Where is that? What's the appeal of the Tales games?
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah, the reason why I like the Tales games so much is that they're able to like touch on real serious subjects without pulling any punches. You know what I mean? Because Tales of Symphonia has to deal with discrimination and with the dealings with humans, half-elves, and elves, while Tales of Vesperia deals with corruption in the government.
Different aspects of justice.
Right, exactly.
I guess it helps to play the games. No, that's cool. And and I guess also because it's not as bogged down with other crap or whatever or special. It's more just it's really about just character and story. So that's interesting. Yes, sir.
I was looking up on Wikipedia and I saw that you were in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the game.
The very first one. I think it was the first game. Yeah. Yeah, that was because the actor who played the Master had given up acting, or not given up. I guess he was sort of semi-retired and moved to Montana or something. And they don't pay for. Then they really didn't pay well for video games, and he was like, no. And I was like, it was it's strange. Which is, if you want to hear a version of Wesker, that's essentially a version of Wesker. And I'm trying to voice match the guy who did that.
Oh, you didn't voice it?
It's my voice, but I'm trying to voice match what he did in the series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was my
so
my question.
He had a very high kind of which has got a quality of Wesker in it.